party? How well do you know your neighbors? If there was an emergency over at their house, would you be able to know how to reach them and let them know? Or better yet, if you had an emergency in your house, would they be able to get a hold of you to let you know what's going on? Do you know how to get in touch with your neighbors, and do they know how to get in touch with you? How well do you know your neighbors? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. The idea of a block party goes way back. We had those when I was a kid, actually. And then when we moved into this block about 50 years ago, we would go over to my cousin's house on Begier and have a block party when they had the 4th of July or other holidays. Now, when we even finished that, we also had them over at my brother-in-law's up near San Diego High School. Why have a block party? Get to know your neighbors and have some fun. When we moved in, this was the neighborhood of retirees. Nobody had children here. And after a few years, when we had our son, he was the first child born on this street in 15 years. And everybody would come over to see the baby. We got to know our neighbors. We sent out a chart that had all the house numbers on them and got the names and the phone numbers of all the people on the street so that we could keep in contact. In fact, when he was young, on trick-or-treat time, one year he got sick and he couldn't go out. Well, the next day, we had all the mothers and that coming to our house to give him his treats because he couldn't go out. Now, like I say, this is helpful for the whole neighborhood. And what it does, let's say on Halloween, how many people go and say turn their lights out or wonder with the bags, giving them out to the kids, how many they're going to have? This way, what we did is all of the families came out and were in a certain area on the street. We had candy, we had food, we had games. In fact, this last year, or just a few days ago, we had a pumpkin contest. 3 different categories: the ugliest, the funniest, and the happiest. And everybody enjoyed and participated. We were the captains of the block at one time. As time went past, things started to die off because there weren't that many kids on the street. Our bird grew and flew to the nest. He's now up in Sacramento. So we really didn't participate that much in it. Then we had new life coming up the street. They had children and they started to grow. And as they grow, they got interested in the neighborhood. They went around and got the names and everything for the roster. They also put out a small flyer to keep everybody informed as to what was going on in the neighborhood. And for major days, they would have a block party. We would live in the cul-de-sac, so they would block off the end of the cul-de-sac, and they would have different games and just have fun. They had a couple of them that even fixed some drinks for us, but we're not going to tell anybody that. The biggest thing is, if you have a block party, all your neighbors can come, they'll be invited, and you can communicate and find out what they're like. You can make sure that those you've missed, you can get their names and phone numbers. Then if anything happens, emergencies, etc., you know who to call. You know how to get in contact. We had this happen to us not too long ago. Somebody didn't answer their phone for 2 days. We went over there, knocked on the door, found out they were fine. So everything's okay. But what I say is get a block party going. You can have some fun. You can have security for your neighborhood. You can have a better neighborhood. Why don't you have a block party? Who's your block party captain? If you have something on the street, let them know. We enjoy our block parties. I hope you enjoy yours. Madam Toastmaster.